You're such an asshole.
Hey everybody, assholeconsulting.com. We have kind of an interesting one. I'm going to try my best at it, but I will fail because we frankly don't have the 2 hours or 3 hours I would go to do a good, full, thorough job of it, and I didn't want to charge a client $200. And I'm not Stefan Molyneux, where I will spend 2 hours on a topic beating it to death. And do the right thing. Come on now, donate, otherwise you're all thieves. I'm kidding. I like Stefan Molyneux. You should listen to his podcast, freedomainradio.com. But let's go ahead to our client's request. Hey Aaron, I need an estimate for the following topic: smart, humble men going aggressive and feral. I'm interested in your thoughts on this since I have seen people go full-out war against the world by becoming extremely hostile, rude, and outright in-your-face violent. And by what I have seen in message boards, the general trend in people is going this way. I think that's just discussion boards. People on the internet are a lot more brave than they are in person. So that's not, and if you're on a discussion board, that's obviously selection bias, and Lord knows who you have in that discussion board. So I wouldn't say this is all people, because if people were going hostile, rude, and outright violent, there'd be a lot more crimes going on. I know this is one of those smart and difficult topics, but at least you don't have to do research. That is true. Fucking yodel. Well, what do you think about this? I'm like, God damn it. I'd like your opinion on the transformation factors that can lead a normally functioning individual into a knife-wielding maniac running down the streets of Tokyo. Example reference to a news article I once read. Thank you, I keep you anonymous. I said, well, give me a little bit more, and he said, it's more of a philosophical topic, the mental transformation process within Western society of a normally functioning male. I guess I want your take on the factors that mold and sculpt an intelligent man into an angry, antisocial, feral, lost cause, and yes, in severe case, it leads to an outlash in the form of violence. Big arguments are very powerful, but if you have any other insights other than a lack of women, financial issues, and lack of parental guidance, it would mean a lot to me. Well, truthfully, it's gonna more or less fall into all of that, but there's one other variable that is key that I'll address in my little dissertation here. But they are pretty much, that's pretty much it. If you don't have women, if you don't have financial success, and you don't have paternal or maternal guidance to teach you how to deal with failure in those regards, you're going to lash out. And so most of it does hail from that. Sometimes there's religion that comes into politics, but I consider politics also religion, where you're brainwashed to think, I got to go kill those people on the bridge because Allah says it. I got to kill the Jew behind the tree because reasons. So there's an element of that, but we'll get to it here. The last factor, stroke, a serious chord with me, not having previously considered it factored in my own personal development. My childhood is complicated to say the least. Your videos are entertaining. I wasn't expecting to be enriched by what you have to say. I guess in a way I'm fascinated by the extra decade of miserable experience you have over me, and I'd like you to expand on this to learn more. Let's put this into a bit of a context. I'm obviously not an idiot, and as such, the only person I could befriend is not an idiot. So for 10 years, I was best friends with another intelligent guy. The problem is he had it rougher than me and was more bitter and angry about the world. He became more and more disrespectful and feral. I had to put an end to what was once an intellectually enriching relationship. He started going downhill after he broke up with his girlfriend. He started acting like the world was the enemy, and slowly but surely I too became part of that world. He started to look at people as tools and resources rather than human beings, and behaved as such with little respect to everyone around him. I'm on the opposite spectrum. My view intellectual relationships is very important to me. Let me take a note here, because something did just pop up. Survival. Oh, now I run out of ink. Okay, survival. Just bear with me there. Okay. I also believe that respect should be a paramount in any interaction with any person unless people are really too damn slow and stupid to grasp simple concepts, and I simply avoid them to save me time and frustration. The issue is that I have started to notice around me more and more people self-destructing, like my friend, message boards and comment sections being one example. Most of the time it's people with lower intelligence. So I'm wondering if you have come across something like this happen to a smart person. In your opinion, what are the underlying causes? Nature versus nurture arguments could be used. By the way, it seems I need a PayPal account, blah, blah, blah. Thanks, and Radek. Okay, well, let's go through here my little philosophy. Every person, but particularly men, since that's what you're talking about, there are three variables that are driving them, and in one capacity or another, if they're not met, you will at least be put under stress. And that stress may be so great, you crack and start attacking the world, or you just become mean and bitter. I don't know if you ever watched the show Black Books, but the hero, the main guy, is a misanthrope. He more or less hates people, and you come to find out that his girlfriend died. And actually, she didn't die. They just told him she died. It's a comedy. It's a dark comedy, but it's a comedy. They told him she died, but she was still alive. But, he was obviously a wreck after that. So if these three things are not met, or at least not fair in life, it results in stress because it either undermines your ability to live, it undermines your ability to have sex and meet women, which is programmed into males, and it destroys all hope if there is no sense of justice or fairness. So let's talk about them. The three ones are poverty, sex, and justice, right? Poverty, this speaks directly to your ability to survive. If you are poor and you can't afford food and you're losing weight and you're emaciated, that is going to provide additional stress. And simple, basic Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if I'm in the desert and there's a glass of water and there's you and me and we're both starving or dying of thirst, and it's only going to save one of our lives, yeah, I'm taking me over you. And that's nothing personal. That's just program survival into your Darwinistic genetic code. So as people get more and more poverty, you get more and more desperate because you don't have the resources. And I remember I'm acutely familiar with this, not because I was ever in extreme poverty, but it was a constant pressure not having enough money. I remember one time, just to give you an idea, the girl I was dating at the time, she was doing very well. And we were going to go to Highland Park in Bloomington, and there you could, I think you could cross-country ski on the trails. We had brought cross-country skis, and we get there, I'm like excited to go. I said, oh, you need $3 today. And I fucking lost it. I mean, I lost it in my mouth. Like, what the motherfucking hell? And because of over $3. Well, okay, that in hindsight or today, as I'm making a little bit more money now and a little bit more stable, seems not only foolish but almost dangerous. Like, you could have gotten in fights and someone might have called the cops, something like that. But $3, that was enough. That was a gallon of gas or 2 gallons of gas back then. I mean, and every little bit of penny helped because that's how little money I had. And and if I didn't, that $3 was, 2 bags of bagels, which would have fed me for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And so when you're talking about, and hunger, it's another thing. Your body will tell you if you're on the lower rungs of Maslow's hierarchies of need, you'll be hungry, you'll be sleep deprived, you'll be miserable, you'll be tired, you'll be cold. A lot of you know that I lived in a basement for 7 years just to make ends meet. And, Minnesota winters, basements get cold, and it was 35 degrees sometimes. Pipes even froze one time. I had to install valves on the pipes, so the pipes, if they freeze and they break, you have valves shutting off the water so water doesn't spray over all the place. So when you have these pressures, yeah, you're going to be a little bit more pissed off. And we can slam on minority communities as it's something about the color of the skin, and this is why blacks or Hispanics commit more crime. You can certainly go down that road. I would make the argument it's the lack of fucking money. And so if you were we could do a sociological study, but I bet you, no matter what your skin color, if you're making $100,000 a year, chances are you're not committing a lot of crime. Chances are you're kind of more relaxed, And so avoiding poverty is one of the key things to avoid from going off the deep end or becoming feral or just starting to view the world as the enemy or resources to take advantage of. And I can understand that because after a while, if you're going to survive, you have to take advantage of society. You almost have to become amoral if you're just going to survive. So that is one thing, and it's particularly pronounced, especially when you're younger, especially nowadays with millennials who have student loans. The sheer amount of pressure, you have no income earning potential. Let's say you were stupid enough and misled to major in the liberal arts, and then you got $100,000 in debt. It's not forgivable in bankruptcy court, and you can't find a job. Oh yeah, that's some pressure. That's some real pressure. Now, most of these people have Mumsy and Popsy bailing them out. But again, if you're poor, You have to come from a disadvantaged family. You have to be a minority. Your parents are, well, they're not together. And I just had a video here the other day where mom is asking to borrow money from you. There's no hope. There's no backup. You got a horde of orcs in front of you and a cliff right behind you. And the only way through to survival is through those orcs. And it's not a fun experience. And so you might be a little pissed off. You might be a little angry. Because it speaks directly to your survival. So that's one thing. Second thing, sex. Not only having sex, but the pursuit of women, getting women to like you. This is another hardwired, genetically programmed, coded thing into men. It is probably, especially when you're younger, again, getting back to the millennial age, your 20-somethings, that's probably your number one thing. We're talking about Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. Yeah, you want to get food, clothing, and shelter, but you'll spend a lot of resources chasing the vajayjay. And in different ways, this can cause you to go down that feral route, become angry, and to strike out at society. One is how women have been conditioned and brainwashed today, especially poor millennial boys, to just not be the nurturing, kind, supportive women that women have traditionally been. Please don't say, oh, they never were that. None of them are meant to be June Cleaver. And instead of a supporting role, it's an antagonistic role. When you go out on dates with these girls, they're narcissists, they're psychotic. I'm not making this up. I went through it. I went through it 20 years ago, and it's only worse now. Also, what you've been told about the relationships between men and women, how things should be, and you find out women in some regards are not holding up their end. That can lead to a lot of, at least frustration. Again, whittling down at your patience, of which if you run out, you will fly off the handle, like I did when I had to pay $3 to go cross-country skiing. Another way is hypergamy, which certainly exists, where you'll be dating a girl, everything's fine, and then she'll just end up cheating on you, going out with a guy who makes more money, or is bigger, stronger, taller, harder, better, faster, stronger, all Daft Punk-like, or is just bored. Or what's even worse, and this will really wear down your patience and really send you down that dark path of feral behavior and rage, is when they won't tell you because they're cowards and they don't have the ability, or they just don't want to tell you because they don't want to have that. And then they just and this, many of you boys have probably had this happen to you. I remember one gal, It's just your Irish rage and behavior. And I'm like, well, she brought this up when we were going to go to a movie. She's like, well, you just have that Irish temper. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never blown up. We've never had an argument. Another girl, you guys know the story, that blew up at me because I didn't buy her a soda. Women causing drama to throw a temper tantrum so that you'll break up with them. That's inevitably what it is, because they ain't got the guts or the balls. But then if you don't pick up on those signals, you're young and you're stupid, you think there's actually something wrong with you. I'm sorry, I'll try better. That, again, wears down your patience. And then if they go in there and banging some other guy, or as in the case of your buddy, when the girlfriend broke up with them, certainly a low point, certainly wears you thin. And you combine that, especially very commonly, with young men in their 20s, or you come from a disadvantaged background, you don't have money, you got nobody else to support you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I've been there. I've been there. I've seen the abyss, and there's been times where it's like, okay, well, do I go on a rampage? What does that accomplish? You know, I thought it through. There's not that I've ever thought, well, I should go on a rampage, because that would logically solve everything. It doesn't, but you're there. You're between a rock and a hard place, and sometimes there's just no other option. So some people just lash out because there's nothing else for them to do. All right? And then finally, all this bad stuff can be going on, but as long as there's a semblance of justice and fairness and a meritocracy in society, that can all be overcome. And what I mean by that is, okay, I work hard and go to school, and then when I graduate, I have a job. I am a good man, a good boy, and I open and close the doors for girls, and I bring them flowers, or I pay for the dates, or I learn how to, I go to the gym, I get a job, then girls should like me and go out with me. And here, this is again very common in young men, and not just millennials, but this happened to every guy since I'd almost say the baby boom generation, where you followed life's advice, but not only are you a poor college student or a recent graduate with student loans, and not only are you, trying to get girls, you've been dealing with all this bullshit. You find out slowly but surely that all the advice you followed was bullshit. And you are not rewarded what you were promised when you obeyed the rules. And then there's huge distrust and failure. And this happened, I remember when I was 22, 23. I mean, it was probably the second darkest part of my life, where I had busted my ass off, did exactly what everybody told me to do. And when it came to it, no fucking baby boomer. I remember this one fucking cunt from Wells Fargo, and I will mention the name, you fucking piece of shit company. She's looking at my resume like, why would I hire you? I get 100 of these every day. And I didn't know it at the time, but I should have said, listen, lady, you don't see 100 of those every day. You look at the number of hours I worked, you look at my GPA, and you look how much I self-financed an entire thing. And you know something? You didn't even do that. You do not see, but I didn't know. So the betrayal that comes with this. And therefore, when you follow all the rules and the laws and you still don't get rewarded, or sometimes you get punished, not necessarily thrown in jail, but you get punished where the girls aren't going to go out with you, they'll go out with a bad boy, they'll go out with a single dad for 5 different baby mom, or whatever, you guys know the routine. Then that defeats and eliminates any hope you have at obtaining the other two. Wealth, not even wealth. I think most guys are just, we'd like to be wealthy. We just like to have fucking food. We'd like to not worry. I remember, again, to show you I've been there. I remember being so excited when Subway came out with the $5 footlong. Because like, holy shit, that's 2 meals for $5. It was great. You could get the $5 footlong, holy shit. Ham sandwiches every night. With vegetables? Can I get pickles and extra mustard and olives? So most of us, we just want to, yeah, sure, we'll take them. We'll take a Ferrari. We'll take millions of dollars, sure. But we're just happy if we can have, we don't have to worry about rent. Like we have job stability. And then food, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs is taken care of, and we can move on to other more loftier goals, like where you could become an author, or you become a great fisherman, or you become a great smoker of meat, whatever it is that your personal dreams is. You got food, clothing, and shelter taken care of. Now you could go on and have fun in life. It's not just being a slave to keep yourself alive. The second thing is then, okay, I can go ahead and get women, or get a wife, or get whatever, pursue that because you're genetically programmed to have that. And the way you're going to do that is through hard work and fairness and a meritocracy. I put in the time again. But if that's like the key to success, like success defined as not starving and chasing girls and being successful with them. But if that meritocracy, that justice, that fairness that is gone, again, 23, 20, it was a miserable time. And that is where I totally see, because then it's pure hopelessness. And by this time you've lived, I'd say when this strikes, or is most common or prevalent, is at the age of 25. Heaven help you if you got married, had kids, and then get divorced, because that's just like, that's even worse. But that is about the time where people have this rude awakening, this epiphany, that not only is life not fair, but they were lied to. They're completely lied to, especially boys about women. Women were lied to about boys too, but they don't really seem to care, sadly. So I can see where once you realize it's not fair, yeah, you hate society. Like me, I hate the baby boomers. I hate them with a passion. I am bigoted against them. I will prejudge them. I will discriminate against them. And they, this is true of all people, but especially a baby boomer, like they have to prove themselves to me before I will even think about helping. I see you got an ARP card, asshole consulting goes up 200%. Go fuck yourself. Because that was the generation that betrayed me, told me all these lies. And they're so stupid they weren't even conscious about it. Some of them were completely conscious, knowing what they were doing. But then all this wasted time, this quarter century, your entire youth is wasted. And all this effort and energy you put into college, education, work, or whatever, Yeah, you're damn right. You have every right to be pissed off. And this resulted, and you could say, okay, on the spectrum of just going into a funk versus driving a car or a suicide bomber or killing or shooting up a church or whatever, when people fully go off the deep end and they crack, I was kind of more over here, thankfully. Otherwise, I would have been going into jail. But I would get in fights. I'd get drunk. I would go up because there was no reason. There was no care. There was no more fairness. I remember there was this kid, fucking little piece of shit, trust fund baby. His dad runs this huge company. I'm not going to mention it. And this kid would run for shitty public offices and he'd get it. And then this scumbag, this fucking scumbag, would avoid paying card charges at the places we'd go. So I just went up to him like, hey, well, you go on welfare too. And I'm like, hey, what's up, hey, welfare boy, what's going on? How you doing? You still collecting a government check and your daddy? Still living off of daddy? I mean, and things could have worked out worse where, someone would have I wouldn't say been within the rights, because if you're a parasite, you're a parasite. But this is, read my book, Bachelor Pad Economics. I think it's also in The Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty. Don't do stupid shit. Don't fuck up. It's a subset is don't fuck up. I was fucking up. It's just the world didn't make me realize it. I got really lucky because I could have gotten punched. I could have gotten injured. I could have landed in jail. And that is you're just a bad decision away from jail time, guys. Honest to God. And that's where all these pressures in life, where life has fucked you over, betrayed you, women have not N-O-T, been the supportive, sane. Heck, if they would have just left you alone, it would have just been stable. That would have caused that. But the drama and the bullshit and the crap you got to deal, especially when you're younger, and then not to mention the past economy has just been absolutely horrible. That provides so much pressure on young men today. I'm frankly not surprised there's not more shooting. I think a lot of that has to do with they can always live back home with parents. A lot of them just aren't paying their student loans. Even though I was poor, I didn't have student loans. I paid them off the day I graduated because I worked up the money. Never mind, long story. But I would make ends meet. But yeah, I could see somebody busting their ass off just like me, doing the exact same thing I did, but you know what? The cop didn't let you go. Or the guy was going to take your lip and he got a lucky shot in on you. That's the stuff where you're, this dark hole people go down, be it just becoming a misanthrope and hating people versus going and killing people. That's where it goes. So, the opinion on the transformation factors lead a normally functioning individual into a wife-yielding maniac. So that's the environment that I say is no women. I don't even want to say no sex. It's just no women because I'm not a feminist or a MGTOW. I think you kind of do need the opposite sex. That's you can survive without it, but it's better with. But what if the selection is jack shit and it's just more damaging? So like women. Lack of economic opportunity, lack of financial stability, fear of starvation, fear of not surviving, fear of a life. Even though you have all the government programs in the world, no one's dying in the streets, but your brain doesn't know that. Still wears it, you're saying. And that is the environment in which a mass murder or an attack or the Elliot Rodgers guy or whatever comes in. Now, what does not help the situation is especially today where you have a lack of wisdom from your elders. Normally this would be your father, perhaps an older brother, that would be able to explain it to you. May not be able to solve your problems, but if someone just came in and explained it to me, that would have given you a new rope to hope, or a new channel of hope, because then you would accurately have diagnosed the problem and been able to put together a plan B. You weren't completely hopeless. So if you have fathers, this is just so important to have fathers in your life, or an older brother figure, just somebody who can give you wisdom and tell you what's going on, they'll help out. Back in the olden days, we didn't have. By olden days, I mean the 90s. Today, if you're lucky enough, you have the internet and you have your digital online brothers, fathers, and uncles, and male mentors. So you have Rollo Tomasi, you have Roosh, you have Royce, you have pretty much everybody else. Myself, Tom Likas, whoever you listen to for podcasts and YouTube and whatever, those are your elders that are telling you how things are. And so it doesn't solve your problem, but it provides you sanity, and it allows you to accurately diagnose your problem. And that means that you can start making concrete, practical decisions that will inevitably lead you to success. All right? I wish we could do a lot better. I mean, I really wish we could get in and help you boys at the age of 14. If boys were to read Reconnaissance Man, and girls too, but we're not talking about girls. If we could get mandatory reading for high school, freshmen and sophomores to read Reconnaissance Man, Worthless, and Bachelor Pad Economics, these problems would go away. These problems would go away within a year or a generation as they grew up. But the schools have their political agenda. They need to make money off these kids. Parents are fucking worthless today. Not all of them, but the vast majority. And government and media has no incentive to teach young people individualism, the reality of the situation, or to fucking smack down feminism right back into its place, which is in the 10th level pit of hell. So that is, without these fathers or male role models or wisdom, none of the, and then you're truly lost, you're truly hopeless, and then you just strike out because there is no thing. But hopefully with internet and websites and all that, this surrogate father, these surrogate older brothers, digital older brothers and fathers, can help boys without fathers and brothers to get out of that dark area and hopefully spend less time than we did in the 80s, 90s, even the 70s were horrible, but I don't care about the baby boomers. Woo-hoo. So we have that there. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I think leads to it. There's always maybe a triggering point, and I'm no expert on mass murderers or knife-wielding maniacs, but usually then there's a snowflake that causes the avalanche or a flashpoint that releases the flood. And it could be a girlfriend breaking up with the guy, losing your job, a lot of employee violence, workplace violence. Something they shut off the electricity. Anything, just anything. And then after a while you start to realize it's such a hostile environment, and now everybody and everything is an enemy. And you really don't care if you go to jail or even if you die sometimes, because what? You're going to take me away from this horrible life? Wait, jail? I get free food and clothing and health care, and you'll probably let me get an education. I'll have pity when I come out, because apparently everyone loves criminals more than they do hardworking people. I mean, so you gotta, your poor friend did have it hard, and you said he did. He probably has it way harder than he's letting on, because you probably can't help him. But maybe show him this video, maybe get him into Rollo Tomasi, get him into the red pill world, get him into MGTOW, even though I have my disagreements with him, the fundamentals will really put into perspective women for the young man there. And then they go a little bit too far with genuine misogyny, but you get my point. Just give these kids some reality, some dosage of truth, and that will, I guess it won't solve the problems, but it will give them hope in another regard. And so, that's what's happening, I think, and that's what leads to people murdering and wheeling or just attacking or becoming antisocial and misanthropic, like your buddy there. And there's a way to stop it, but like I said, frankly, the public schools, feminism, academia, media, and parents, they just don't care. They're really selfish, greedy, clueless, indifferent assholes who only care about themselves, and they really don't care about their children. So that's why they let the girls become sluts and harlots, and oh yeah, rah feminism. That's why they let their boys suffer and wander, become riddle and addict. Oh yeah, you got the Asperger's. Yep, you do. Oh, you're just condemned to hell. Here's some drugs. Take them. Yeah, that's the reality we face today. But we here on the internet, we're making those changes. And so if you guys seriously go talk to a therapist, that's one thing. But if you got a young man out there who's frustrated, or you yourself as a young man that's frustrated, pissed off in life, things aren't fair, come to Asshole Consulting and talk to your older brother over here. All right, it's going to cost you money because I am your older brother. I'm an asshole. Or listen to Tom Likas. They don't charge you. Much nicer people. Listen to Stephen Molyneux. Read Return of Kings. Bring them into this brotherhood of the manosphere and see if you can't, if you can't get, here's an article. Read this. Here. This is going to cheer you up. I know your girlfriend dumped you. Get them in here. All right. If anything else, for the social support. And we could certainly most definitely, this isn't my opinion, we could certainly most definitely prevent people, these mass murdering guys, we could prevent people from flying off the handle and cracking and going out and hurting others. Because that once they do that, then it's over. They get shot, they're in jail, there's something mentally wrong with them, and there's nothing you can do after that. But if you can talk them down from that ledge, bring them in here. A lot of lost souls out there, a lot of lost souls. And especially now with millennials graduating with all this debt and all the fucking bullshit they've been taught and the no fathers around. Honest to God, Master is going to be around for a long time because fucking society needs it. So you send them here, help out your friends, help out your buddies. And if you hate my guts and you don't want me to make a dime off of it, fine. Go bring them somewhere else. But, get them the Mullen, who's nicer. He'll do it for free. Might have a 6-month wait, but he'll do it for free. Anyway. If you guys got any questions, go to assholeconsulting.com. I got my blog, CaptainCapitalism.com. We got my books. If you can't afford the consultation, I told you, Worthless, Reconnaissance Man, Bachelor Economics. You happen to be black man's guide out of poverty. You happen to be Hispanic, and you speak English. Get the Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty to help you too. You can find those books on Amazon.com, paperback, Kindle, and audio. And then the podcast. You can find my podcast on SoundCloud.com. It's called The Clary Podcast. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.